Monessen City Council work session to order on July 5th, 2021. Roll call, please.
Councilman Gregor.
Here.
Councilman Coles. Here. Mayor Straw.
Here. And we have Councilwoman Thomas on the phone and Solicitor Witt on the phone as well. Can you both hear me? Okay. Lois, Tim?
Yes.
Yep, I can hear you, yep.
Okay, good. Please rise for the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to open the floor to public comment on agenda items only. Seeing as there's none, moving on to correspondence. On Thursday, July 22nd at noon, there will be a ceremony on Donner Avenue near the railroad tunnel next to the Chateau to commemorate Hall of Fame player Josh Gibson and Monessen's Page Park. The MLB donated a plaque commemorating Gibson's second longest home run of his career, which he hit out of Monessen's Page Park in 1938. And the Pittsburgh Pirates will be participating in filming the event, and we're expecting some of the Pirates to attend. So the public is welcome to come down to that event on the 22nd. It should be really, really fun and unique for the city. And then item B, Bay's Beauty Bar and Nefertiti's Palace are requesting to hold a vendor show on Saturday, August 28th and Sunday, August 29th at 9th Street Park. They will showcase area vendors during the event. Food trucks will also be available during the event. The request is being made to waive any charges. The park must be cleaned up following the event. And Nefertiti's Palace is a business located on Donner Avenue. And then items for discussion, we've received a request from Aaliyah Rice to be appointed to the Recreation Board as a youth member. She submitted her application shortly after last month's council meeting. And we've also received a request from James Quattro Jr. to be reappointed to the Police Civil Service Board. Code Officer Todd Carter has submitted a letter of resignation from his position of Building Code Officer and Code Enforcement Officer for the city. His last day of employment with Monessen will be Tuesday, July 13th. He will begin employment with Green Tree Borough starting Wednesday, July 14th. So we will need to discuss how we're going to handle the advertising for the open position. Obviously, it's a busy time of year with summer and grass growing and all of the inspections that are going on. So we need to move as quickly as we can on that. Dawn, since that's your department, do you have anything to say regarding that?
While you're leaving?
Or just in general, like how we should proceed?
How we should proceed? Well, number one, we need to advertise and get someone in here. However, if we do, I believe this, considering the changes that may take place in January, I think it needs to be a consensus vote. In as much as I don't want to hire somebody that's going to come in here on a 3-2 vote, and as January rolls around, they're let go because the incoming people don't want them to be here.
Right.
So like I said, it needs to be a consensus vote. We need to advertise, we need to interview, we need to get this handled. There's just so much going on. I mean, we're going to have to start relying on the people calling in and complaining. And I'm afraid Mr. Harhai is going to have a lot of extra work running around.
And just like last summer.
Just like last summer.
Yeah.
But I'd like to reiterate, it needs to be a consensus vote. You can't hire somebody without them having some kind of job security.
Right.
You know, you bring them in for 5 or 6 months and then you let them go because administration changes.
So we'll have to move on that quickly so things don't get backlogged again.
Oh, they will.
Next, item E, commercial insurance coverage for July 1st, 2021 to July 1st, 2022. John, what do you have on this? Do you have anything specific to add to it?
Right here.
So we didn't receive this until the 28th.
28. Right.
So, and the term started on July 1st. This is the same company that we've had this past year, so we will need
That's
to.
an ESPA company.
Yeah, so we will need to approve this. Is there anything that's changed?
There's a 5% increase from 68 up to 73,000, and the next highest bidder was at 75,000. So we stayed with them. And the adjustment was made because we went with another company for the workman's comp.
Which ended up being much lower.
What did that say?
66,000 versus the 110.
Okay. Item F, the Mon Valley Sewage Authority, what is this regarding?
Yeah, I received some phone calls. I didn't have the answers for it, but allegedly they had a nepotism policy in place and it was revoked, it was voted out. Lois, do you know anything about that?
I can't hear you.
Sorry, I'm gonna go find it first.
I was receiving some phone calls that the nepotism policy at the sewage authority had been revoked, had been voted out of existence. Do you know anything about that?
I think they said they voted out like a month ago, not recently, probably about a month ago, maybe either the last meeting or the meeting before.
Any particular reason why?
You would have to ask one of the members. I don't even go to the meetings. You would have to ask one of the members.
I thought you were the,
No, I'm not the liaison. I'm the liaison to the library and I'm the liaison to the redevelopment authority.
oh, okay. All right then, I'm gonna call some of the members and find out what's going on over there. I'm just curious as why they would vote that out.
No, I'm already two liaisons. Someone else has to forget her.
All right.
So you said sewage authority.
Yeah, I was contacted by people that had attended, and actually one of the members called me and told me that they had voted out the nepotism policy. I'll find out, I'll contact them and find out what's going on. I'm just curious as to who they're trying to hire.
You would have to find out.
I will do so. I'll let you know next
I'm
week.
not the liaison, so I would know. I haven't been to a meeting and I don't know how long.
So we'll know by
Yeah.
next week's council
Yeah,
meeting.
I'll find out.
Next, item G, we have a request by Charlotte Charlotte Feem and Ryan Feem to purchase the following property for $500 through the redevelopment authority of the city of Monessen, transferred by quitclaim deed to the redevelopment authority. It's tax map number 2002060800, which is 672 Braddock Avenue. That is an empty lot, I'm assuming.
It's a house.
Oh, it's a house. Oh, this is a house that we somehow own. There's a small, there's a small house on Braddock that I don't think we realized we owned, so it's near 9th and Braddock. Okay. Next, item H, Resolution 20 of 2021, a resolution of the City of Monessen, Westmoreland County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, authorizing the city to enter into a license agreement for the property located at 326 Donner Avenue, the Monessen Public Library, with the Library Board of the City of Monessen for a 15-year term, providing for an effective date. In my research, the Library Board had an agreement that expired at the end of 2019, so we'll just be renewing the agreement so that the library can continue to operate as they have been.
It expired in 2019.
Yeah, December of 2019, I believe.
Do we have like a copy of that?
You should have received one. I think it's with the resolution. Like it's resolution 20.
And that's in the mail, that's in the email that I got?
Yes.
Okay, because I didn't see that one. I saw the equitable one. I saw the one for the quitclaim deed.
Yeah, it should be, at the top it should say resolution authorizing the license agreement for the Monessen Public Library.
Okay, because I saw the plumbing one and I saw there's one after that. I saw also,
Hiring.
The
see, I
hiring.
don't see and I see the hiring one. I don't see the library one.
Well, if you can't find it, we could send it to you, but,
Yeah, I don't have that one, so if you can send that one, please.
all right. And we'll have Resolution 21 of 2021. It's an addendum. If you recall, a few months ago, we received that grant for blight remediation, and the Housing Alliance of Pennsylvania drafted that agreement. They forgot to add this addendum to it. The grant will cover their travel expenses too, so they needed this to be added. So this is just adding that to the existing agreement.
And that's common for us, for cities to cover their travel?
No, this is part of the grant. The grant covers it. They just forgot to put it in the initial agreement.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right.
And then item J, Resolution 22 of 2021, establishing rules and regulations for the purchase of supplies, parts, equipment maintenance, vehicle maintenance, and day-to-day operations and necessities. This is basically putting into writing what we've been doing with the purchase orders. The city administrator and city clerk have been handling those along with Tamika. And for items under $13,000, there's no quote requirement, although we do get estimates for 13,000 to, I believe, 21.5. Tim, correct me if I'm wrong. It is.
To check, that 13,000 number, let's check on that because I
Okay.
think that number may be a little bit lower.
Okay.
Something made me think it was around 11,000 or 11,500,
Okay.
but yeah, we can check on that certainly and make sure that it's in compliance. And keep in mind, so that changes every year, so that
Right.
resolution may want to read to integrate in any automatic, increase.
Yeah, that was my second question.
Because that sounds fine to me too.
Okay. Well, we could check on that and we'll put the automatic adjustment in there. And then items over that, whatever that amount is, whether it's 11 or 13, they require 3 price quotes. And then, of course, anything over the 21, I think it's currently, is it 21.5? I know that changes every year too.
It's either right around 21.5 or 21.4.
Okay.
It's right around there, yeah.
Okay. I know that changes too, so we'll put something in there that allows for the change every year. Okay. Item K, Ordinance 1239, an ordinance of the City of Monessen, Westmoreland County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, establishing certain rules and regulations regarding dogs, cats, and other domestic, non-domestic animals in the city, rules and regulations regarding the keeping of dogs and cats in the city, rules and regulations of certain exotic animals, and establishing penalties and enforcement regulations, providing for an effective date. We've talked about this so many times. I did not include the requirement for rabies and vaccinations because I just don't think that we have the legal jurisdiction to do that. This will move the limit of dogs from 2 to 4 based on square footage of property. Right now it's just 2. And like I said, there's some items in the current ordinance that basically, one of the concerning ones is, and we don't do this, it says that we destroy dogs within 3 days of catching a stray dog. We obviously don't do that. So I don't know when the last animal ordinance was adopted, but it's been quite some time. So this updates that. We've been discussing this back and forth on and off for about a year now. So hopefully this is the one. And I did include, Councilman Orzechowski brought up last month that there wasn't anything in there regarding, under the cat section for foster cats too, like there was for foster dogs, so I did add that on here as well. And then item L, ordinance 1241, an ordinance of the City of Monessen, Westmoreland County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, promoting equity, diversity, inclusivity in the city, and establishing equitable contracting procedures for minority and women-owned business enterprises, and establishing an effective date. Councilman Coles has been very passionate about this subject, and also I know Councilwoman Thomas touched on this, I think, a little when she spoke at Juneteenth. there are federal regulations for this sort of thing for MVEs and WBEs. However, there are a lot of loopholes for it, and basically anything under $100,000 is not required to be sent out like that. So this closes that loophole for us locally. So I don't know, Gil, if you have anything you'd like to say on the subject.
Yeah, you say $100,000. There is something on the books that is written that says in an emergency or whatever, that anything under $20,000 can be given out without a threefold bid to be advertised or whatever. Is that right?
It would be we'd need 3 quotes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and there's a lot about these things that is going to need a lot of discussion, to make sure that it's enforced, because for the last, since 2010, Section 3, which a whole lot of people that have been on council, and including the past mayor, didn't even know what the hell Section 3 was or is. And there's people getting ready to come on board here for the city, and they don't even know what it is. And if they try to violate anything in here, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to shut the money off and they're not going to get it. Because the law requires compliance, federal compliance law requires inclusion and participation of minority people on all levels, working and contract compliance. So if it's not enforced, there's going to be some trouble. I'm just forewarning and saying. So I hope that, and I looked at the old one. What did you do in it, Matt? I don't see anything about, in the old piece, you got the city of Monessen shall lower the threshold for contracts acquired to $50,000 and above.
It should say 20,000.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. The current version says 20,000.
Well,
Section
on
3, 2A.
what page is that on? I looked.
Page
Section
3.
Yes, page 3, section 3, 2A.
Maybe
Okay.
like halfway down the page.
Yeah, I see it. Shall lower the threshold according to okay, that makes it reasonable to deal with, you know what I mean? And that's the way it should be. So I'll keep an eye on it, but I just wanted to bring that to your attention and to anybody else's attention. Because with a very strong, I feel a very strong infrastructure package getting ready to sooner or later come down the pike here.
I hope
Minority
so.
folks, black folks especially, going to be left out in the cold. They don't even know what the hell's going on. And the boat's going to pass them by. But as I said, if we don't participate, or if the city does not participate and do what it's supposed to do, I'll do everything that I can to make sure they don't get any federal money. Okay? That's all I had to say on it.
Okay. Next, we have item M, ordinance 1242, an ordinance of the City of Monessen, Westmoreland County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending Chapter 285 in the codified ordinances of the City of Monessen regarding plumbing, providing for an effective date. The code officer made me aware that the plumbing ordinance as it stands now does not follow the UCC code, so this is amending it so that it follows the UCC code. Item N, ordinance 1243, an ordinance of the City of Monessen, Westmoreland County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, establishing rules and procedures for potential new hires, certain rules and procedures for potential appointees to all city boards, authorities, and commissions, and providing for an effective date. This is the same exact thing we did in resolution last year. This is just putting it in an ordinance form. And then item O, I received a couple messages, and I spoke with Mr. Greger about it, but I wanted to put it up for discussion here. As many of you know, Tom McLaughlin passed away recently, and he was a longtime city employee, and several people asked about naming the city garage after him, and putting a plaque on the garage. So I just wanted to bring that up for discussion. See if anyone has any thoughts. The residents that I spoke with said that they would work to raise money for the plaque, so the city wouldn't have to
There'd be no
spend
cost to
money.
the city.
Yeah, no cost to the city. They do want to get a nice plaque put on, and then we'll do a dedication or something. So all it takes is our vote to approve it, and then they'll work to stick with the plaque.
Take it from there.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then item P and item Q, these are the final two side streets through downtown. These are the spurs that go off of Donner to the railroad tracks. Council's been approving naming these side streets after Monessen residents who have passed away. The last two are the stretches of Oneida and Perenni that go towards the railroad tracks. And I thought it was fitting, since the stretch of Oneida goes to Giannini's and the stretch of Frank's, or the stretch of Perenni goes into Frank's, to name those after those two individuals, Angelo Giannini Way and Frank Mandarino Way. And then that would complete all of those side streets. And I don't know, does council have anything? Okay. Does council have anything else before I open the floor to public comment?
Not at this time.
Okay, and Tim, John's sending you a copy of something that some residents brought. There's some residents here concerned about the treatment facility on Nash we spoke about. So he's going to forward you what they brought so that you can follow along on that.
Okay, I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
So he's I don't know if he's standing it or what he's doing. So,
When we go to sign forms with this stuff?
well, we're gonna discuss, I wanna hear your concerns on this first, so. So I will open the floor to public comment if whoever wants to go first.
I'll go first. I'll go over here.
Yeah.
Yes, my name's Elmer Matuzzi. I live at 1202 Nash Avenue. At 1205 Nash Avenue, Club Serenity bought a building there. And Club Serenity is known for their facilities for treatment, like drugs, alcohol, battered women. They do counseling. They have places for the people to stay, which is perfectly fine. People do need help. But our area is residential. It's R1, and it's strictly residential. There's nothing matter with them moving into Monessen. That's perfectly fine. But we're zoned for R1. They could have moved they could have went any place in Monessen that would allow them, and for our zoning laws, they didn't. They went right smack into a residential area, and that's where I live. And it's not zoned for that, and that's my concern. It's not zoned, it don't belong there. I lived there for 40 years, and it's peaceful, it's quiet. Now I'll have a treatment center right across the street from me. Really don't need it here, and that's my
What's your
concern.
address?
Mine is 1202, and theirs is 1205. And that's all I gotta say about the subject.
My name is Mark Courtley. I live at 1211 Nash Avenue, directly next door to this home that they're going to use. I have 22 grandchildren. I have 8 great-grandchildren, 4 of which live with me there. The city has plenty of vacant buildings downtown. Serenity now could have got one of those. They have apartments upstairs. They have plenty of room. They have offices downstairs. They could have renovated one of those, possibly got there for back taxes, and had that facility downtown. Again, I agree with my neighbor. They need treatment, they need help, that's fine, I'm all for it. The this is residential. I'm not going to be having people on drugs, alcohol problems in the home right next door to where I raise my grandchildren. And again, according to the codes, we are R1. And it states in the code that is not permitted, that is a treatment center. And I would like council to look into this and get this changed. Find them another place. That house can be resold. So they won't lose any money off of that. But I am protesting that going up in my neighborhood right next door to me.
Sir, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Who composed this letter we have here? You did?
Yeah, why?
Well, it needs a signature, I think, to make it official, sir.
Okay, I just signed it for you, I
Here,
forgot.
I have one with a signature.
Yeah, I don't
Want me to sign
have,
it?
I can't act on something,
Okay,
something,
no trouble, sir.
yeah. I mean, legally is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no trouble.
My name is Michael Warren, I live at 1223 Patton Avenue. It's a
Great.
street below
That's
now.
what I did.
First of all,
Now
if
we
they
can
were to
do
put
something.
something in like this, why wasn't all the neighbors notified in the area that they were gonna do something like this? Am I allowed to open up a business in my house? No, because it's residential. So they shouldn't be able to open a treatment center, which is in a residential area. There's kids that live around there, there's older folks that live around there, and it's not gonna be good. It's just, and then nobody was notified. It was like the city and this company, and maybe not just the city, the company tried to slide it in before anybody even knew about it. Now, is this considered an Oxford house?
What do you mean by that?
Well, I've been seeing a lot of people I work with. I used to work for the Department of Corrections. These realtors are coming in buying houses, and when the neighbors go ask them, hey, are you buying these houses? Yeah, we're going to buy these houses, we're going to flip them. Next thing they know, there's people moving in them, and they're Oxford houses. And it says, people are telling them it's a law like the city or the council has to let the neighbors know that this is going in and it cannot be put in a residential area. So hopefully you guys will let it, I mean, I understand, I work in the Department of Corrections, I know people need help, but they don't put them in residential areas where they can get more trouble. That'll be all.
Okay, this is Ernie Telegraph, it's 29 Rex. I brought this to your attention, Matt, 3 months ago. You cannot do business because somebody's gonna come and buy a house. You guys are eager to sell it because you need the money. I told you before, you gotta put a limit. Like, if somebody comes in and they're gonna buy 10, 20 houses, you can't do that. You gotta give a limit to each entity.
This house was privately sold, so we have nothing to do with
Well,
that.
you could still lay down the, the law where that, if it is privately sold, how comes nobody was contacted by the realtor? Like these people are saying,
That-
it's an R1. So where
That I
do these people
agree
come
with,
in?
but I can't speak to why the realtor wasn't contacting anyone. But, and the solicitor could clarify this more, I don't know where this comes into play with the Fair Housing Act. And that's an issue that we have,
Well,
so.
everybody wants to get under a federal umbrella for protection. You guys should be concerned only about Monessen, the character of Monessen, and the direction that Monessen should take for its own people. That's number one.
But we also have to follow laws too, so
You could
I,
follow,
So,
you
yeah,
could follow them
I
to
just
a
wanted to
minimum.
jump in to add something there. So obviously, this issue is on the city's radar, and we have had discussions about this. One of the things that we all need to keep in mind, so the city has its zoning ordinance, right?
yep,
Which does restrict where certain types of uses, including treatment facilities, can go into, certain zoning districts, certain neighborhoods. But we have to keep in mind, too, that we are subject to, and we're required to follow the Fair Housing Act. And to the extent that our zoning ordinance doesn't comply or is in violation of the Fair Housing Act, we can't enforce our zoning ordinance to that respect, or we would be subject to potentially a major enforcement issue and a fine and a penalty from the federal government. So that's one of the things, we're very sensitive to this issue. We know that it exists. We've already started the process of having, a quasi-investigation done to figure out exactly what is happening in the facility, the who's residing there, what the eligibility requirements are, what kind of services are being offered there to determine Housing Act, where there is some level of protection that's afforded, or whether it's a clear violation of our zoning ordinance. So, because once again, we have to follow the Fair Housing Act. We can't deviate from that, regardless of what our zoning ordinance says.
I have two more. The one is, I see this pretty language again, it looks like it comes from the federal government. Diversity, equitable for women, minority, this and that, there's no definition. And there's nowhere there in these articles or statutes or whatever. How do you qualify them?
I'd be happy to give you a copy of the draft of the ordinance.
Yeah, but the thing is, there has to be qualification. We can't just have anybody come in. Like that one guy from New Kensington, he came in and then look what he did to the building down there. He's doing business outside 3 times a month and then he disappears. So we can't just follow one particular guideline at the behest of the federal government.
I mean, that guy is dealing in personal, private enterprise, nothing to do with the government. These regulations and what we're talking about deals with the federal government and the city of Monessen being a recipient of government money. That has nothing to do with what you're saying.
So you got government money for this neighborhood?
No,
Oh,
this,
okay,
this,
well, I don't see them
it's
tied in.
it's any federal money that the city requires.
Okay, so you
In
got
general,
federal,
any
did
federal
you get
money.
federal money for the neighborhoods that these people are living in?
No, but we get
Okay.
federal CDBG
Do you
money
know that
every
for
year.
sure?
Yeah,
Do
you
you
Well,
guys
not
know
that I
do you
that.
know that whether this project is not being funded with the federal money?
Well, that I don't know, but
It
it's
could
not
be.
through the city.
That's why, yeah, we were aware of it, and we were looking into it, and if we can legally stop it, we'll make every attempt to do so. But again, we have to make sure that we don't violate federal law.
No, well, all you do is you have your lawyer or somebody contact the federal people and ask them.
Well, their lawyer should have known better that if he was violating any rules and regulations, he
Well,
tried to
again,
get away with it.
but again, it's like someone said, sometimes these people come in and try to do it under the radar,
That's
but
right.
once it's established, it's too late to do anything once it's there and operating.
And I'm back to the lawyer that represented these people trying to do such a thing.
Yeah,
That name should be surfaced.
Did that lawyer contact the city council?
Well, I don't know. This is part of what
Who's in
needs,
charge
maybe
of
need to
that,
be
man?
happening.
Not that, again, it was a private
this
sale.
is what we're looking into.
Yeah.
I mean, we
I'm just
weren't,
asking questions.
we weren't aware of this until it
But
started happening.
you're not stopping these people from coming into Monessen. We already zone in areas. They stood for the zoning laws. You're allowing people to come into Monessen and do this, but follow our laws we already have here.
That's right.
That's why we're looking to make sure it doesn't violate the federal
We
statute.
don't want to discriminate against anybody, and that's not what it is. But a treatment facility is a business.
Is
It
that what
belongs
they're calling
in-
it?
Yeah, it depends on how they live.
Is that what they're calling?
But they call it a facility over Charleroy.
It's based in Charlotte.
Depends, what are they calling it? What are they, I mean, that's what we have to look
Call it
into.
Club
I don't have the answers.
Well, you know what,
I'm not a lawyer.
what might be doing, they're trying to sneak under the radar, see? Once they get under the radar, then they'll make application for government and federal money. This is how these people do these things.
Well, I understand all that.
And their lawyer, whoever he is, I'm sticking on that. If they came this far, he should have known better, and he's trying to pull a trick here. And he should be got down.
I would suggest that you should put Tim Witt on that case, so you could go after that lawyer.
Question,
But anyway,
can the city's attorney contact whoever owns, and blatantly, just ask them, what did you purchase this house for?
Tim?
And did you hear that?
I didn't, was that a question from a member of the public?
Yeah.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he asked if you could get in touch with the owners or their attorney or someone and find out why or what they purchased the property for, like what purpose.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Now that we've received, formal citizen complaints, that does open up the realm of possibilities for what we can do to reach out to, especially from adjacent property owners, nearby property owners. That opens it up to what we can do. So between myself and our zoning officer, which unfortunately he won't be here for much longer, but between the two of us, we can certainly make contact with the property owner and inquire as to the specifics of what the property is being used for, to evaluate the specific use under our zoning ordinance and the Fair Housing Act.
Should the residents that are here or anyone that are near this property submit something in writing or sign, all of them sign what they have given us to make it more formal?
I would recommend it just because, that helps the city to substantiate the fact that we have in fact received a bona fide complaint.
Okay.
And as they serve as the basis of the city's inquiry.
Okay.
Just put your address,
Yeah, if you can put your name and address.
name and address.
And frankly, that's helpful too, because that enables us to have a list of folks that are, kind of active and involved and have also been monitoring the situation. So in the event that we would need some more factual information, we could reach out to anybody on that list too.
Okay.
Can any of the other residents sign?
Anybody that
Yeah,
wants to sign
anyone
one?
who wants to sign it.
The name and your address.
And we ought to, is there some way we can notify the neighborhoods what they're going to do? Can we post something up there?
Tim, can we post something up there or Don asked if we can notify them in any way, the neighbors?
I don't, there's no real mechanism to notify them. And at the risk of creating an issue potentially under the Fair Housing Act, I wouldn't necessarily advise any sort of formal notification, but certainly amongst the members of the public that are present this evening, and then just generally as council members and city officials are talking with other members of the public that would be interested in this issue, it certainly wouldn't hurt to let them know and share what the city is planning on doing in terms of opening up an inquiry.
Okay.
When would be a good time for us to come back to see what you have found out?
We have a meeting next week. I
Yeah.
can't guarantee we'll have found anything out.
But it's,
We'll try.
Try to get some answers at least.
Try
At
to
the
get,
same time next week, Monday,
It's
Tuesday.
Tuesday at 7,
Tuesday, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
the 13th.
Just one more thing here, Matt. Are you making use of the website?
I started working on updating it this afternoon.
Yeah, like, so whenever anything's happening in the city, we should put it on the website so we can get this response instead of them.
You have to be careful. Right? You have to be careful.
You did.
You didn't pay attention to what Tim said, the lawyer said?
Well, I came late.
Well, you just said it while you
Well,
were
you
here.
did. I
You
didn't
have
pick
to be
it up.
careful about doing that as a government agency. We have to be careful. I mean, it's, the federal government is a lot more powerful than we are. And if they tell us that we did something wrong and they convict us of something, we get fined and go pay the fine.
I'll fight it for you.
Yeah, again, you go pay the fine.
You didn't say you're gonna pay it.
All right, so that's about it.
I just want to say, I'm John Jasinski, I live at 1214 Patton Avenue, I live right behind that house they're talking about in Nash. I was on vacation last week, well, I had bereavement with father-in-law passed. So I was there, and they put that roof up in like a day and a half. So my concern is that they're going jet speed to get this done.
They have a crew inside already.
Yeah, they're working 7 in the morning till 7 at night.
Do they have an occupancy?
See, they don't have any permits, who gave them permits?
I'm just letting you know.
We don't know if they do or.
I'm afraid that
That's
they're
not been
going
posted in any
paper
way,
speed.
yes.
Well, should they have a building
Get in there.
permit?
They should, yes.
That's all I want to say. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
I want to say that my mother has lived in that house for 74 years, and it's been a safe neighborhood. We never, ever had problems like this before where a business can move into the neighborhood, especially of this nature. I'm not against the house, it's just not in a residential area. You have zoning laws that protect us from things like this. I don't think they should be put aside because of Fair Housing Act, which is federal. This is local, this is Monessen, the city of Monessen. We have our own zoning laws. And I think you should really check into this, because I'm so upset about it. My mother's 94. She does not deserve to have people like that living in the neighborhood and worry about living. Thank you.
And if they do have a building permit, it's not shown anywhere that you can see it.
That's another question that we could ask.
It's going to be Mr. Turner.
Josh Turkovich, 1233 Reeves Avenue. So I'm on the opposite corner of Watkins and Reeves. But we had a similar incident like this, or a similar situation like this at the plaza across where the Alpine used to be, where a methadone clinic was open. The owners of the building quickly shut that down once they got wind of what exactly was going on in that situation. I too have two small young kids. I'm rooted here in Monessen and plan to stay here, so something like this will have an impact on me personally and also on my decision for my family. So I think that we need to be proactive in this, and I hope the city council will spearhead this and help us to make sure that we can do the right things. And I agree there's people that do need help in this world, especially in society today, but there's a place for that, and I don't believe that an R1 is that. I know that area in some spots where I'm at are mixed use, where it's business / residential, but I know that one block behind me, that's all residential. So, another thing is, you got the Monessen Elementary Center 2 blocks from that. So, I don't know feet-wise, but I know that within 1,000 feet, you have to have certain zones for schooling. So, not to mention multiple churches in that neighborhood as well.
Ron Moser, 25 Colonial. I think it becomes very clear that we're going to suffer a loss with our code enforcement officer. That's going to be quite a thing. I know he's been working awful hard and they've accomplished a lot of good things over the last few months.
Fortunately, everything seems to be, he's very organized, so that's helpful.
That's good. But by the same token, we got a few more days, so there's some things that would be important that he concentrate on this issue along with other things. Which brings up another point. With the loss of the code officer, John Harhigh, city administrator, city clerk, and so forth, are going to become it's an initial burden to them, to say the least. And I would suggest that you guys keep a good log. Who calls, what they're asking for, keep a good log, because I think that's important that city council even understand what complaints are being made. And just to get it on the record, 1121 2nd Street has a catch basin that's going to become another issue with the city. And I want to make that public record that needs to be addressed as soon as possible. It's only one that I just happened to see on a motorcycle. I'm sure there's others.
You said 1129?
1121.
21?
1121 2nd Street. Is perhaps not as bad, but it is definitely, the catch basin is collapsing and there's a hole in the pavement. It can snag a motorcycle or a foot or whatever. The other thing I was really hoping that they would be on the agenda tonight so they could be presented next week was the audit report. What's the story on that? Where are we with the audit?
John, give an update on that, the audit.
We're waiting for the Fusion company to send us the audit for the volunteer fire department. This is going back when we're still waiting for when they took the pension away from the original people who had it. We still haven't got it back from Fusion.
For the volunteer fire department?
Yeah, they're under it.
Yeah.
The pension.
No, the drivers were,
Yeah.
not the volunteer fire department.
This was before. We still have people on there
From the drivers?
From the drivers,
Yeah, but that's not the volunteer fire
That's the
department.
Bureau of Fire.
That was the paid drivers.
Okay, that's who it is.
We haven't
They
received
told
that.
us they were going to mail it into us, and we're waiting for it. This is the second week in a row now that we've been on the phone with them.
So we did hear
One of the
from-
things that the third class city code states is that it is presented to the city council and the public. I mean, it's not necessarily an audit that's mailed to you and you review it.
And it
They
will-
need to come here and present it.
And it will be presented
It
when
will.
we have it.
Yeah.
Cypher did give us the information that.
We finally got
was
there,
requested.
yes.
That's good.
A year late. Yeah, nice.
And this is just another part of when they took that, when the Matter Group took that program, the pension program, and,
So that pension money was returned,
yeah,
Yeah.
pension money was returned.
it
and
just
now
haven't returned the paperwork.
Right.
I did kind of look into it. The sewer project's been something that's been of concern to me for some time. It's right to know whatever. But it occurs to me that every month, there's about 3,517 plus or minus a few people, one way or the other, that are making payments to the sewage authority that include the all the different fees required for the line usage fee. And I've gone through and looked at several of these uses. 550 goes to debt service to the sewage authority. There's a 3% collection fee they get. But it boils down to, from December to now, through Resolution 17 of 2020, there's been 8 months of $15 a month collected, which means there must be a fund of about $422,000 for the line usage fund that's set aside for the USDA. But yet that's never mentioned in any of the city council meetings. I was wondering if you could present what the fund balance is of that line usage fee at the next month's meeting.
And John, would you like to explain about the progress with that, with the engineering?
There are $27 a month. 7 of that is used for the line usage for Monessen maintenance of inlets. Then we had $5 that was issued for the EQ tank. And I think we had that for 2 years.
Right.
When I came, there should have been $500,000 in that account.
Right.
Zero.
Wonder why?
So have you made any improvements? There should be $422,000 just from December to now.
The improvement I made is that the sewage authority does not send the $5 here. They're putting it in an escrow account in order to pay down the bond. We couldn't manage the money properly. We spent it. Somebody spent it.
They're sending $71,000 a month to the city.
How much?
Approximately $71,000 a month.
And what number did you use?
That's based on
Number of houses. How many houses did you use?
3,517.
3,300 homes. That's what it is. That's the figure basis. Okay, so you got to start with the right figure, 3,300. Now, the money that we increased from $12 to $27, $15 a
Right.
person, a household.
Right.
We have already paid out of that money over $190,000 against WEC for their engineering. And we have not been able to get that back because we can't get the audit done in order to get the bridge loan from USDA. So, yes, you have to look and watch the money as it goes along and keep the engineers paid. So that's what we're doing right now. But the main thing is that.
And all I'm really asking is if they can just provide a fund balance, just like you say, this is what's in the general fund, this is in what the line usage fund is.
He wants you to ask the sewage authority how much money's in that escrow account.
In the escrow account?
Yeah, he would like to know that money.
Yeah, I could tell you that.
Well, as part of that $15 a month, that's what we're looking for.
And what happens to that $5 a month?
15.
Well, the $15 a month now, that comes to us.
Right.
And we use that to pay WEC for the engineering.
Right.
And then
All I'm asking is, there was a time, like in July of 2020, you provided a usage balance, a line usage balance, and what was spent out of that. You did that again in September.
I do that every month. I tell you what we pay.
I've gone
and
through
what
the
is-
minutes, and
what
it's
is
not
there.
been done since September of 2020. So, and we need to make sure we include that number. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm saying,
Oh, you want to, we get to see that in the treasury.
It needs to be reported to the public. The public's what paying the $15 a month, $27 a month.
Well, normally it's because it's large sums that they listed underneath that. I don't see a reason why we can't do it. But that's the reason it's not there is because it wasn't a large sum. We spent $160,000 in this past spring fixing that break down below there, the mill. Isn't that this past spring we got to fix that?
Last year.
Last year.
But that wasn't out of the $15 a month that you
Well,
authorized.
that was part of it. That was part of it. That $15 a month, 5 is still going to the tank and the rest is going.
No, this $15 a month.
Oh, yeah, that's for the USDA.
Exactly.
And once
The
we,
WEC would be a legitimate expense against that.
right,
I mean,
and once, so they had to do engineering last fall.
Right.
And so we're paying that down.
I understand.
And then
And that's good.
once
That's all I'm asking.
once we get that bridge loan, which we can't get until the audit is complete. So once the audit is complete, once we get that bridge loan, we'll be basically reimbursed for those expenses that are related to the USDA project towards engineering.
And I hope USDA is paying attention, because they first off also require that you have the first year's payment in advance of distributing money. And if we're spending it paying WEC, there's a conflict there. I'm just saying.
Matt, did you answer his questions? What are you trying to get, on-the-job training here or something
No,
that you don't know things about? Did you do that to Maverick 6 months before you got sworn in, what he's doing to you in this administration? Why are you down here, what are you trying to get
Yes, sir, I
on-the-job
am trying to
training?
get on-the-job training, absolutely. I
That's
wanna know
what
what's
you're
going on.
trying to do, because
Absolutely.
you
What's
don't
wrong
know
with that?
what you're getting into and know how to do it.
And you can't answer the questions I'm asking.
Didn't he answer your questions?
No, not yet. He hasn't told me what the balance
You
is.
said 3 things.
We will
You're on the 4th
provide-
one now, the 5th one.
We will,
You're not getting on the job training down here, brother.
we will provide the balance next month
That's all I'm
or
asking.
next week.
all I'm
However,
asking.
again.
When you get sworn in, then you take over and you do the things. You're not coming down here getting what you think that you need to know.
We're waiting for the audit that should have been done 2 years ago.
Criminy.
So we're basically stuck until we have that audit. And why Fusion is taking its good old time to provide that information
There's
is
been-
beyond me.
Cypher, Fusion, they've all been dragging their feet. It's got to be political somehow or some way. There's no way that this should have happened. You know, there was a councilman that was in communication with these people, and they still held the information back. We sent them the information they asked for in March of 2020, and they did nothing. They did nothing. And then when we tried to get someone else to come in, they refused to send the information. Why? But there was a councilman who was in communication with him. He knew what was going on.
Because he did not want things disclosed. People got, you know what it is.
And
Bob.
the sooner we get the 20.
And, you know, I can't say that, and I'm not
I
going to
will.
say that.
I will.
I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say. It
I
just,
will.
It just strikes me as extremely odd that, and I've seen Cypher and Cypher's reports. I've listened to their reports. I have no problem with them. I think they're a quality company. I just don't understand why we didn't get it. Was it because of COVID-19? I don't know. It just strikes me as odd.
And once we receive the 2019 report, soon after, we'll receive the 2020 report. So, you know, then we could actually.
Well, the
move forward.
2020 shouldn't take that long.
Right.
Because they'll have all the information.
They've been giving that information simultaneously, so.
You know, I don't know what, excuse me, terrible allergies this year. I don't know what's been going on, but there's something wrong here. I wish I knew. It's just frustrating. You know, there's a man right there, he has legitimate questions about why we don't have this audit. Why? Because we haven't received the information from Cypher and Cypher. How many times did we ask?
Well, Cypher finally gave the information.
Well,
Now
finally,
it's
but we've been
Fusion.
trying, how long have we been trying to get this?
Over a year.
Over a year. Why did it take a year to get this information?
But Ron, just to answer one thing, the bond of $15 million does not start until the first shovel goes in the ground. That's when it starts. Anything prior to that is up to us to get the money. And without having the information to get the audits and all the financials to the people, we can't get a bridge loan, and that's what we need to get by. And the bridge loan's gonna be about $1.3 million. That's what they anticipate the bridge loan. I have every invoice in file that we have paid so far. We have $120,000 I think we paid. We still have a $90,000 outstanding invoice from our engineers. I just don't have the money to pay them, and I'm not going to pay it and take our cash flow down for a project that hasn't even started yet. So it's all predicated on that audit. Everything is predicated on that, and they've been holding us up. This project should have started in 2014, and by now we should have been almost completed.
So in regards to the zoning issue, we'll have the solicitor and everyone try to get some answers. And like I said, you're all welcome to come next week. Tuesday at 7 o'clock is the next meeting. Hopefully we'll have some answers for you at that point, but we'll see what we can find out.
And I will talk to the code officer tomorrow.
And I believe that when they bought this home, it was just like you or I buying a home.
Yeah, we understand.
We didn't even, the only time we knew about it is when they would show up in our, showing up as a tax and transfer.
No, they didn't, they didn't buy it, that's all.
Yeah.
Then they just started working on it, and nothing showed up, like in the computer, who bought it. I was curious, and then it showed up, Club Serenity, and then the story started coming out.
Now, where did you find out that it was a treatment center?
Well, what
Google
Club
it.
Serenity is, it's for helping people.
You can Google it on the internet.
Yeah.
But did someone
We
say
didn't
specifically
actually
that?
talk to the people ourselves, we figured you didn't talk to people.
Yeah, we will.
On the title, it tells you
Based on
who bought
Charlotte.
it, the purchaser.
Right.
And they're
And
fixing it
then
up,
we
what else
Googled
would they be
the
fixing up?
purchaser's name,
Well, now that we have the formal complaints, like the solicitor said, we can question them and find out what's going on. So, if there's anything else from anyone, we'll adjourn the meeting at 8:02.
Thanks for letting us know.